Hi Gemini, welcome to your early September 2021 General Tarot reading. It's Rena here, so thank you to the person who realized I hadn't posted one of these. I have a feeling I did one. I feel like I did one, but you never know. I'm doing so many different types of readings at the same time sometimes that things can slip through the cracks. I have Jupiter in Gemini. So that's really like pushing it with all of the different activities. Wow, interesting. Wow, look at all the major arcana cards you've got here. That's really quite amazing because I only have 6 cards and 4 of them are major arcana cards. So that can talk about major themes, events in your life. The heart of the matter is the 10 of Wands. In one of my books, this is called The Burden of Success. So the person is hunched over. That's supposed to indicate that they are carrying a very heavy load. And this heavy load can be a heavy workload. So heavy that the person can be tempting some sort of condition that keeps them, burns them out or that kind of thing. Keeps them from working at all. So please think about that in your life. Are you burning the candle at both ends? Are you working 2 jobs or just working overtime in the main job? There's this, when I was thinking about all of the major arcana cards, I was thinking, well, the trigger to that is very likely the fact that you had a solar eclipse back in June, and that may have set off a chain of events that has been new beginnings for you, but perhaps a lot of hectic stuff. So we have in the past position that could be influencing things, the Fool card, and that's the very first card, 0 point. This is like the reset button, going off in a new direction. If you're somebody who says, that's not true for me, I'm still doing the same old, it might be just attitude. Maybe there is a change in you in terms of how you normally view life, how you do things. You have to, if you're watching this, this is really, when I do these readings, I'm speaking mainly to Gemini sun signs, unless I talk about astrological transits, and that can definitely impact the rising signs. But when I'm reading these cards, I'm assuming that you're a sun in Gemini, and your rising sign can be completely different. So where that Gemini eclipse fell in your chart is anyone's guess, in your natal chart, and that could be where the reset button was pushed. And sometimes some of these houses are more like a mental thing or an emotional thing. It's not necessarily something tangible. But, those 2 cards speak of a sense of adventure, but a sense of, I don't know if I'd say obligation, but in a way, it might be an obligation where you're carrying a load that doesn't belong to you. So you have to determine if you feel like you're overwhelmed. Gemini, are you doing this to yourself? Are you telling yourself that you have to hold everything up or everything will collapse and like you're the savior, you're the only thing that stands in between everything falling apart and there being some semblance of order in your family's life. The higher message is a Temperance card, and this is more balance in life. This is the card that's associated with your opposite sign, Sagittarius. So, of course, it could be a Sag who maybe you have not really given enough credit to, who is a good person to either consult or to spend time with. But in terms of what the card represents, one foot in the spiritual world and one foot in the, which is the water, and one foot on land, which is being grounded and being practical. So the point of that is to talk about being able to navigate both of those areas of life without putting undue influence on one versus the other. Because even like people who are like oh so spiritual, they can be very ungrounded, and they, you know, when somebody doesn't have a sense of groundedness, they may find it very hard to function on a day-to-day basis very practically. They may not have material resources a lot of times because they just can't seem to attract it or keep it. They may, so they may be leaning on others to provide that for them and not provide it for themselves on a regular basis. There can be people who are so grounded or in 3D, as we call it, that they are ignoring the spiritual side of life, and that can lead to cynicism, excessive materialism, and choices that are made that are really kind of like what I would call bad choices, because they're very short-sighted. They're very fear-based. They're doing things, they're making choices based on being manipulated into things because of fear. And that, if you notice, even like in regular commercials or what have you, a lot of times they use things like fear to motivate people to, they'll say, if you don't do this, that's going to happen. And it's just like a very low energy. Maybe some of you Geminis feel more comfortable with the material side of things, and you don't feel like the spiritual is where it's at. And when you think about inspiration, that is part of the spiritual. And so that can make it hard to feel a sense of wonder, a sense of like the ability to look beyond where you are right now and imagine like a more positive future. So even some of the practical things that you think are not part of the spiritual, they actually are, because you can create better circumstances for you, even in the material sense, in your future, if you have that belief that there's more to life than where you're at right now. So it's kind of like faith and things like that. What crosses you is the Ten of Pentacles. This is a card that's associated with money, like affluence. So it can be big money, you know. This isn't the inheritance card. So, of course, that could be something that is coming up for you and problematic. Maybe family is clashing over it. But in terms of looking at those top cards, it can be getting addicted to money. Sun and Gemini people can easily have inner planets in Taurus. And Taurus is the sign right next to you. And that can make you get in this trap of like, oh, wow, I want to work a lot because I want to generate a lot of income. But then you can't really enjoy it because you're working so much. So it's one of those catch-22s. And the other thing, too, is that you may not enjoy that much what you do, or it may be very stressful and burdensome, hence the Ten of Wands. Interesting that we have two tens, because the number 10, actually 3, if you count the Wheel of Fortune, and I do count them. I don't know what 3 tens would be, but I do know that the number 10 is, you can reduce it to 1, so it could be, the beginning of a new cycle, but it can also be the ending of a cycle. And so you may be in this transitionary period. And this is why we have the Fool card and the 10. It's like 0 and 10. Like, if you think about in terms of decanates or 10-degree cycles, whatever you want to call it. So maybe there's this excessive desire for money that is keeping you slaving away. And by the way, it doesn't have to be that you're greedy. It could simply be that you came from very humble beginnings, and you're very afraid of ever going back to those times. So you always want to have money saved up, but it's never enough. So that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about being trapped. That's a form of being trapped. What's coming in, the Lover's card, there may be a choice that you have to make. This is actually Gemini's card. You may have to choose between your well-being, it could be even your physical well-being, and this need, which could be an excessive need for making money. And the outcome card is the Wheel of Fortune, and this is a card of cycles in life. And so it might be time, especially since the Fool is there in the past position, where you are being called upon, Gemini, to emphasize or pour your energy into different things. And maybe that cycle of working very hard served some sort of purpose, but now perhaps you're being called upon to do something else. And only you will know when is that time to make that shift. But the Wheel of Fortune is in the upright position, so it could be that you are poised for alignment and a cycle of having things consistently going your way. And so especially for those people who have been wanting, let's say, to start their own business or something like that, you may find that things go a lot more smoothly. We still have the North Node transiting in your sign in the month of October. I mean, this is for September, but even, I don't know how long it goes in, it stays in, it might be the rest of this year, but I don't know for sure. But this reading is for early September, but even into October, I think. The North Node is in Gemini. And so what this means is your date with destiny, being a sun or rising in Gemini, in that first house to have the North Node. So just your life shifting in general in a certain direction that is important for you to be involved with at this time. Okay, that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, I'm primarily an astrologer. I have some readings that are double readings that are, if you like a more comprehensive reading, I have a double natal chart analysis and transits reading for a special price, and a double reading for a private tarot reading, and either chart analysis for an hour or an hour of transits for the coming year for a special price. That's called the whole enchilada. The first double astrology reading is called Deep Dive Reading. You can find out about those readings and other readings at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.